On.
Good morning, everyone. Once again, I welcome you all on behalf of the organizing committee and take this opportunity to welcome our esteemed speaker of the day, Mr. Saket Modi. Sir, thank you for accepting our invitation to present a talk on cyber risks and security. Mr. Saket Modi is an Indian entrepreneur based in Palo Alto. He is the co-founder and CEO of Lucidus, a computer-based security company, and is a public speaker about ethical hacking and computer security. Sir has been awarded with 2013 Student Award Indian Ambassador of Cybersecurity in Education, National Education Awards presented by AICT and organized by CAMAI, and Young Entrepreneur Recognition in Magazine by Forbes Asia. Mr. Modi has appeared as a guest on TV news programs including News 18, NDTV, Bloomberg Quint Live TV, and has spoken on various subjects of information security and entrepreneurship at international forums like Mobile World Congress, CeBIT Germany, Forbes Under 30 Global Summit Boston, Confederation of Indian Industry, Cybertech, and many more. So once again, I welcome you on behalf of the participants and the organizing team, Ramanujan College. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. First of all, I would like to thank the Ramanujam College and the leadership there for the opportunity. It is truly an honor to go ahead and present to thousands of teachers around the country for a simple reason that I am a byproduct or I am a product of whatever I've learned from my teachers. And I personally feel that it's the most noble profession of all for a simple reason. It's the only profession that creates all other professions in the world. So it's truly an honor to be speaking to all of you. And in the next 1 hour, my effort would be that based on a lot of things that I and my team have learned over a course of almost 8 years of running a cybersecurity company, I would love to learn and share those experiences with all of you and try to see how we can or I can do some value add to your existing knowledge base around cyber and security. I'll define both of them, I'll bifurcate both of them, and then we will take it from there. I am just going to share my screen. राजीव सर अगर आप एक बार बता देंगे कि मेरी स्क्रीन विजिबल है and
Visible. That is your screen is visible.
Thank you, sir. So I will start with this thing. I like calling this presentation the teacher of tomorrow for a simple reason that over the last 3 months, we all know that the world has changed and the world has changed drastically. And considering the change that has brought into the way we work, the way we live, the way we teach cannot be far behind. And therefore, the teacher of tomorrow, how that needs to be looking at cyber security, because that's the only area of my competence. How do you become the teacher of tomorrow around teaching, around interacting with students? You guys are already champions of that. I will keep in center the aspect of cyber security. And when you are talking to your students, when you are talking to, taking new classes, online classes, etc., how do you see cybersecurity and how do you make things happen from there? So that will be the theme of the presentation today. We have an hour for the presentation that we will do. And after the hour, we'll have around 15 minutes for question and answers. And I understand that Rajiv sir and other people will actually curate those questions from all the platforms that you guys are watching this at. Let me start with an actual example. In fact, before I go to the example slide, let me actually give an actual example of a movie script that I'm writing right now with a very good friend of mine, Anurag Kashyap. And I thought who better than teachers to actually take the feedback from of what do you think about the script of the movie. So I'll quickly tell you the script. Imagine a bank, imagine a day like 11th August. It's a Saturday evening where, and this is just a story of the script of a movie. So for 5 minutes, we'll do this and then we'll go back to the presentation. And I'll tell you why I'm doing this. I'm writing a hacking movie, which basically has on a Saturday, 11th August, say between 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. India time. Between these 2 hours, say you have suddenly more than 70 crore rupees being stolen from ATMs in 28 countries with 15,000 transactions. So 70 crore rupees, 2 hours, 15,000 transactions, and all of that being stolen from the debit cards of one particular bank, which is based out of Pune. So suddenly the banking authorities see a spike in the cash being withdrawn using their debit card, and they suddenly stop all the debit card transactions which are there. The moment that happens, they go ahead and they suddenly start investigating into what happened and what didn't happen. And over a span of 2 days, they are going deep in understanding that how could 15,000 illegal transaction happen in a span of 2 hours, and they are still trying to investigate the whole thing which is there. On Monday, which is 13th August, the morning 9 a.m., there is another hack that happens on the bank. And this time, $2 million, almost $2 million are lost by a SWIFT transaction. And you use SWIFT to do international transaction. So the SWIFT system of the bank was hacked and almost $2 million were stolen from there. So in a span of 3 days, almost 11.5 to $12 million, which is almost 80 to 90 crore rupees stolen. And to my surprise, after 2 days, I read in the news, the people who were hacking the bank have been caught. So I was like, wow, this is very impressive that, in 2 days, the hackers have been caught, because generally in hacking, the conviction rate of reported cybercrime is less than 0.1%. So I was like, wow, this is very impressive. When I read the news, it basically said that there were a few genuine customers of the bank which went inside the ATM during those 2 hours, swiped in their cards, and they withdrew 5,000 rupees. When they withdrew 5,000 rupees, they saw the receipt. Their bank balance did not go down. Therefore, they got surprised. And said, okay, let me withdraw more. Let me withdraw more. Not only did they withdraw, at the same those 2 hours, because the bank systems were hacked, they asked more people, more friends of theirs to come in and withdraw thousands and thousands of rupees. Those were the people who got caught. And the media said that, look, the people have been caught who were behind the hack. They were definitely not behind the hack. But it was almost like, the whole thing was happening, and at that time, by mistake, they were able to get the things done. Now, when they investigated, they found out the entire ATM network, the switch which powers the ATM network of the bank, and the core banking system, all of that of the bank was hacked. It was hacked to such a big extent where the hackers could just go in, swipe a card, take out whatever amount of money they want, and the account's balance would not go down. Now, everything that I just told you has a small modification. I told you it's a script of a science fiction movie. The reality is, this is not a script of any science fiction movie, although it sounds like a script. It sounds scary, but this is what actually happened in a bank in India called Cosmos Bank. This was August 11, 2018 when the hack happened. I told you almost $13 million siphoned off the bank in 2 back-to-back hacks. 28 countries is where, imagine how well coordinated the whole hack was. 15,000 transactions, 7 hours. And this is, by the way, the oldest cooperative bank of India and one of the most modern cooperative banks of India. And imagine, this is a real bank in India getting attacked, which is there. What is the state for other industries and other places which are there? And this is not a science fiction movie or a Netflix documentary. Talking about Netflix documentary, which has been inspired by real events which have happened. If all of you have seen Jamtara, you know exactly what I'm talking about, on how the number of people are being fooled just by simple phone calls which are happening. If you've seen this document, if you've not, I highly recommend you should watch it. By the way, in our team, when people join in, I run a cybersecurity company of almost 200 people spread across the globe. One of the pre-requirements or prerequisites for anybody who joins in, we give them a list of Netflix documentaries that they have to watch. And this is one of them. It's a very, very beautifully filmed documentary or a TV series, which actually talks about real frauds which are happening in India. And unfortunately, thousands of people have been, victim to actual money frauds which have happened, and millions of people actually getting these calls now on a daily basis. Do you know what is the common thing between, what's happening in Cosmos Bank and what's happening in Jamtara and everything else? The foundation of learning that we have today has no element of cybersecurity inside that. We are never taught how to use WhatsApp or net banking or Zoom or Microsoft Teams in a responsible way. I thought education was always about setting the individual or human being of tomorrow. Unfortunately, it has not adapted itself, because today, unlike even 5 years back, especially after COVID, technology has become the centerpiece for everything that we do professionally or personally. And therefore, securing technology becomes the most important thing. If you see, before I even go to security of technology or cyber security, let me break down what is cyber. If you see, in the pre 2000 days, in 1990s, cyber or technology was just a back office automation tool. It used to have Excel sheets and ERP solutions being implemented, etc., etc. This was in the 1990s, which was there. At that time, you actually had this huge rise of Infosys, TCS, Tech Mahindra, etc., because they all did back office automation, where all the ERP solutions were being automated. Between 2000 and 2010, you actually had the time where you had a blast in terms of, the Internet Explorer. You had iPhones and Android smartphones. So I can call it the time of the smartphone era, which really started dawning in. Since 2010, you actually had the whole thing around the social media. In fact, today you're watching this also through the social media. And of course, I don't need to tell you what happened in 2020, where, because of COVID, everything has digitally transformed itself. In fact, cyber today has become the number one priority for CEOs around the world. Cyber or digital transformation after COVID is what the World Economic Forum says. Now, has that only been used by young millennials? Absolutely not. Even starting from people who are like our Prime Minister, which has embraced technology like very, very few people around the world. In fact, I was surprised on my last birthday when I got an email from his personal email ID. I, of course, know it was an automated email, but it came from the Prime Minister congratulating me or, wishing me on my birthday. It was impossible to do that if he didn't embrace technology. I spend most of my time, and I'm based out of Palo Alto in California in the US. And I can tell you, even while being in the US, we can be very proud as Indians, because India, even compared to the US or the United Kingdom or the Western European countries, is one of these only large countries which has a very, very clear digital transformation strategy, which today is lacking even in the United States and even in most Western European countries which are there. The reason I brought him up is that him, even being more than 70 years of age, the way he has used technology to really reach out to each one of us and use technology to actually take decisions has been incredible. Another example, I think somebody very, very popular has been Sadhguru. Starting from using tags, hashtags on Twitter like unplug with Sadhguru, till actually using technology to go ahead and reach out to millions and millions of people around the world. I think he's done that beautifully. And the reason I take two examples of the likes of Narendra Modi's and Sadhgurus of the world is only to drive home a point that even at a 70, 75 years of age, when you start embracing technology, you are utilizing the maximum of what the world has to offer today. This was about what is happening today and what was in the past. The future is even more exciting when it comes to technology or cyber. Starting from usage of artificial intelligence. Now, a lot of people, unfortunately, still don't understand artificial intelligence, which is a very, very simple concept. What starting from intelligence, saying starting, what is intelligence? Where if I look at you, I will call you by your name if I know you. That's intelligence. When you code that artificially, it becomes artificial intelligence, where you're going ahead and creating a program. So when you upload a picture on Facebook, and it automatically asks you, do I tag you in that picture? That's artificial intelligence. Every time you upload a picture on Facebook, Facebook knows it's an outdoor, how many people are in the picture, are they happy, are they sad, what kind of devices or gadgets you have in the picture, etc., etc. Really artificial intelligence using which the world is changing on how you interact with the internet. Internet of things, starting from having smart TVs, right? I mean, now all of us have these, the smart TV revolution, till smart refrigerator, smart tables, smart chairs, all of that connected to the internet, very personalized to your experience. Reusable rockets, voice assistants, driverless vehicles, cryptocurrencies, the digitization of matter. So a lot of these things which are happening, purely taking, I would say, our human comfort, our human experience to a whole new dimension, thanks to one thing, which is technology. And therefore, the other message which I'm also giving is, any individual, irrespective of their industry, irrespective of their profession, irrespective of their age, if they do not embrace technology, they will be left out. They will not be able to cope up. And especially as teachers, when you're teaching millennials today, which probably 99% are carrying a smartphone today, if you're not embracing technology, it's very hard for them to be able to consume, or look up to you when you can't talk in their own language. When technology has become so critical, it is very obvious that securing technology is the centerpiece now of going ahead and doing things around that. So the inescapable truth is that technology has become the all pervasive, and it is only logical to secure that technology that comes in, right? Because if technology is not secured today, you have a direct impact not just on your professional lives but on your personal lives. To give you some actual examples for the same, if you know this man, his name is Jeff Bezos. He's the founder of Amazon.com. And right now, he's the richest man on the planet. Jeff Bezos' own personal mobile was hacked literally a year back. And his private pictures were out. Imagine this, the richest man in the world was not able to protect himself by a hack or a group of hackers, and and people could hire hackers to go and actually you know intrude into the privacy of the richest man on the planet. So imagine if it's possible to hack into the richest individual on the planet, where do mere mortals like you and I actually exist? Now this obviously brings us to the question, saying that, look, if the richest man in the world can't protect himself, what and how will we protect ourselves? And how is it even possible for us to protect? Well, that's the other extreme. The unfortunate reality, if you know, the world of internet is now moving towards things like software as a service, infrastructure as a service, everything as a service. In the underground, or in the deep and dark web of the underground of the hackers, there's a new kind of service called hacker as a service, HAAS. Let me tell you a little bit about hacker as a service. What it does is, you can go to that website, and there are thousands of these, where you give the email ID or the Facebook ID of the person who you want to get hacked. You don't have to pay any money upfront. The hacker will take that email ID or the phone number or the Facebook ID, and for the next 14 days, he or she will go ahead and try to hack those particular platforms which are there that you have given there. Only once they've been successful in hacking those platforms, they will take a screenshot of the inbox or a picture from the mobile phone and send it to you for verification that, look, I have really been able to go ahead and go inside the target that you defined. Once that happens, you then pay the money, and the money is only paid in bitcoins, so that there's no traceability of who is paying to who. Because to make a Bitcoin account, you don't need a KYC document. You can just go in and start a Bitcoin account which is there. Coming back, imagine this: you're only making the payment once you are convinced that the hacker has an access to the target. It's almost like cash on delivery. And the funny thing there is that there is no risk, and you can go to the deep and dark web with an anonymous name and get everything done. And the hacker frankly doesn't care about your identity as long as he or she is getting the money from you. And the funny thing there is that once this happens, they will also send you a customer survey form of how did you like the experience. Please rate me between 1 to 5. Not only that, it will also tell you that if you will go ahead and recommend this service to your friends, you will get a 20% discount the next time that you're going ahead and next time you're using their services. Now, the most surprising thing about these services, the average cost of getting an email ID hacked, the average cost, it is not in crores of rupees, it is not in lakhs of rupees. It literally ranges between 10,000 rupees to 50,000 rupees, depending on the person, the type of the victim, the persona of the target, etc., etc. So it's really boiled down to a point where it's become so easy to hack people. And why is it so easy to hack people? Because none of them today who are using a smartphone are smart enough to have been trained in their schools and colleges of how do you really responsibly use your smartphone or your social media account or your laptops which are there. I can guarantee you that more than 99.9% people in the world are not smart enough to use their smartphones because of the very, very high smartness that these smartphones come with today. The general example I can give you is I get a lot of people who come to me and say, I can't be hacked. And I say, why do you say that? Because I have a fingerprint scanner on my mobile phone and therefore I can't be hacked. It's very unfortunate that, people have to say this, but I don't see them at fault. They are not at fault because they've never been trained. There has never been chapters in their NCERT books or in their college curriculum to explain them how really hacking works. They don't have to be a computer science wizard or an engineer to know that. But just knowing that what can happen when you click on a link, what can happen when you enable macros in your Excel sheets, etc., etc., are basic information that has not been given. And that's the reason it's become so easy to hack. And the consequences are very devastating, unfortunately. These are real stats that you're seeing on the screen, which is talking about the total monetary damage caused because of cyber breaches. You can see almost an exponential curve that it's going up year on year, which is there. Similarly, this is the total malware infection growth rate, which is there, which is going up in millions year after year after year. And therefore, this is such a serious risk that is there across the world, not just for, they say that World War III will not happen physically. These standoffs from neighboring countries or any country in the world are very, very going to become more and more rare. What will be more popular are not just banning applications of a country, but also going ahead and trying to take down the companies and the applications of the other country and stealing data from there to be able to manipulate that country. We've seen, unfortunately, so many elections these days where they are being so easily manipulated because another country wants a different candidate as a president, and they can do that. They've influenced the crowds in a huge way around the world without naming countries which are there. The most common cyber attacks that are there, starting from giving viruses on your computer till the insider, which can be there as a part of your own network, your own organization, web-based attacks where you download the whole databases, SQL injections, which are part of web-based attacks, which are there. Phishing, so popular, where somebody will send an email and you click on the email or give your username and passwords, and the email will look so authentic, so genuine that it has come genuinely from your bank or you're from college, etc., etc. Theft of data, social engineering, and so many others which are there. And therefore, it has become so popular and so easy for people to get attacked. Now, one of the big problems of cybersecurity is you only hear about the hacks, you don't see hacks. When I talk about 9/11 attack, you can almost be sure that, look, you don't want to be a part of that kind of a hack, because that was a physical hack, because you still remember that sight of the plane coming in, or the Boeing 737 coming in, crashing into the World Trade Center, which is there. And the crash which happened made all of us say, we are okay to go to the airport 45 minutes before the flight. We are okay to be frisked because we don't want to be a part of another such incident. The problem of cyber is that you don't go ahead and you don't have that particular visual of a hack which happens. Therefore, today we will show you a live hack right now on your screen. We are all using Zoom, so we will show you how Zoom is hacked in front of your eyes. I will call my colleague Rubal, who's one of the ethical hackers and one of the leaders in my organization, to actually take this demo and talk to you guys and show you how real world hacking works. We'll do that for 3 to 4 minutes. If you've all known about Zoom bombing, where anybody is able to join into the laptop of a Zoom or join into a Zoom meeting which is going on without the permission of the owner of the meeting. So Rubal, are you there?
Yes, Saket, I am here.
Can you take the demo, Rubal, for everybody? I will stop sharing.
Sure, Saket.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll take over.
Mm-hmm.
Saket, let me know once you see my screen.
Sure. Yeah, we can see your screen, Rubal. Perfect.
Sure. I hope the terminal is visible.
It is.
Visible.
Yeah. So hello, everyone. A very good morning to all of you. So today we will see, as Saket said, the live Zoom bombing hack and how it was exploited in the wild. So first, let's understand what is Zoom bombing, and then we'll see how it was exploited and emerged in the wake of COVID-19. So Zoom bombing is whenever an uninvited attendee joins and disrupts your meeting. So consider as a host, you have invited 5 attendees in your meeting, but there is another guy apart from 5, the 6th person is also joining. That's when you call the meeting to be bombed. That is a meeting bombing which is there. It's not just Zoom bombing. It can happen on any other platform which is there if we are not using the security configurations of these platforms rightly. So in the wake of COVID-19, a large number of people have turned to video conferencing platforms, be it schools, be it organizations, be it colleges. Everybody today are using video conferencing platform. Even today we are connected on Zoom. That's when attackers shifted their focus towards the video conferencing platform, and they found the vulnerabilities in past 3 to 4 months, the serious critical vulnerabilities which were luring around this platform, and that's when the Zoom bombing started in the wild. So what I'll be doing today is, if you can see my screen, I'll be using one of the Golang tool, which would give me all the Zoom meeting URLs which are set up on this domain. It will grab and it will print and it will start brute forcing it for me. Since the Zoom meeting ID is a 9-digit numeric number, it becomes very easy to brute force the meeting ID. So let me run this for you.
Well, you also want to explain what is brute forcing?
Yeah, so brute forcing is when you provide n number of payloads in a sequence, or maybe in sequence, or it could be the way you want the payload to be. Any payload which you would automate as a script, and for every request you would try that particular payload, and you would look for the server response. How your be it Zoom meeting, be it any URL, API or application, how that particular component is behaving while providing that particular payload. Basis the server response, will take the call. Okay, on this payload, this is how the response which has been received from the server. So this is how you brute force anything which you would like. So one of the main example we perform brute forcing is password. So let's say there is a user account associated on any social network or any website. You provide the email ID of the victim, and you start providing the random passwords. That's where you are brute forcing the user account password. So let me just go to this. Let's try running. Yes. So as you can see, it has started brute forcing all the Zoom meetings which are there. It is only brute forcing for this particular domain, since we have provided this as an input. You can see the meeting links are also having the embedded password in them, which means you can pretty much go ahead, copy this link and start the meeting and join the meeting if the meeting room or meeting lobby is not enabled. So let's see, for demonstration purposes, we'll use our meeting link, and I'll go there. I'll paste our meeting link out here. I'll try to join. Since I'm already here. So I'll join from browser, since I've already joined from the application. Okay. So as an attacker, again, one more step which I can take is I can abuse my name. If I know who is supposed to join that meeting, I can use his name to join that particular meeting. So let's say Rajiv sir was supposed to join this meeting. I'll use his name. Okay, let's try to join. Okay, it says this meeting has not been started since host might not have started the meeting. So let's wait for the host to start the meeting. The page will automatically refresh in 5 seconds. We are waiting for, yeah. So host has started the meeting, and we have also joined into the meeting. So let's see who all are the participants here. So one is the host, John Doe, and other is the Rajiv Nayan sir. But it's actually not Rajiv Nayan sir. It's Rubal who has joined as an attacker, and John doesn't know whether Rajiv sir has joined or Rubal has joined. If I am on mute and I'm not speaking, I'm just listening to this meeting. So that's how the Zoom meeting was exploited in the wild, and again it is being exploited if the security configurations of your applications are not set right. Yeah. Yes, Saket, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rubal. And as all of you saw, this was an actual thing which very interestingly happened in my school a few months back, because my school, and I grew up in Calcutta. So I actually had, and I got to know about this, that students at my school went ahead and they posed as the principal of the school in a Zoom meeting, and even started speaking in the voice of the principal and telling them that, look, tomorrow will be a holiday. This is what I am thinking. What do you guys think? And started giving, some instructions out there. So it's been happening pretty popularly. And what you just saw, what Rubal just showed, was an actual way in which somebody can intrude into a Zoom meeting. And it's pretty straightforward. As you saw, you can brute force things and get things done from there. Of course, it was one demo, and a lot of such demos are possible in terms of what and how things are happening. Now, this was a outside demo which still Rubal did, and you saw it on the screen. What I want you guys to do right now is please go to this website right now. You guys are doing this webinar through YouTube or Facebook, wherever. Can you please type this website called pwned.com? It's called haveibeenpawned.com. I will go ahead and I will show you what the website looks like. This is the website, and it's a very simple website. All you need to do is write your email ID, just the email ID, not the password. And come on, you give your email ID to everybody, right? So I don't think you'll have ever a problem in going ahead and creating an email ID there or giving an email ID there. So I'll write my email ID. So at lucidistech.com, and I will click on pawn ? Just click there. It will tell you, oh no, you've been pawned, or you are safe. In other words, it will tell you whether this email passwords are available in the deep and dark web or not. And if it says, oh no, pawned, you can scroll down and see there are two websites where the email IDs of mine, even my email ID passwords, have been disclosed. One was the Zomato breach. And remember, Zomato was that breach where, if you remember, in India it happened and a lot of Zomato usernames and passwords came out. And the other is Cove, where it actually goes ahead and, it has a usernames and password. And even my password is out in the internet. I've obviously changed my password of Zomato. Cove is actually some other website that it had the password with. And of course, I changed all of it. But the reason I showed this to you is you can go to this website, write the name of your email ID or just your email ID and clicked on pawn. Pawn in the world of hacking means, have I been hacked? And the moment you do that, you actually get to see whether your email has its password in the deep and dark web or not. To give you an actual example, I will show you a real deep and dark web portal. Yeah. Hi. Yeah. Somebody saying
Saket,
something?
have you shared your screen back?
Oh, is my screen not visible?
No.
Whoops. My bad. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, my bad. I almost thought the screen was shared. Okay, so it's haveibeenpawned.com, HAVEIBEENPWNED.com. And I wrote my email here and I clicked on PWNED or not. And it said, oh no. And there are these two places where my password is available on the deep and dark web also. So these are like the two places you can go and you can find whether your email ID's passwords is available on the internet or not. The second piece is the investigate. I will show you a real deep and dark web scanning right now also. So I know that the email IDs in DU are du.ac.in. So I will go ahead and I will search for email IDs in deep web and dark web and their passwords. And I will show you how hackers look at it. We are not hacking du.ac.in. We are seeing that whether passwords of du.ac.in are available on the internet or not. So I'm going to search for this. Just give it a second. I have multiple, users and passwords which have come. Look at this. I will zoom in so that you can see. Dean_planning at du.ac.in, and the password is Anita1970. Another example, dir_udsc, info.lb@du.ac.in, right? Info center, info.rajdhani at rajdhani.du.ac.in. There are so aurobindo.du.ac, principal. Okay, you have the principal's password also out here. And I have many such examples, right? Librarian@du.ac.in, and the password is SM1417. So you can see, and there are thousands of this. And by the way, there's no hacking that we did. All we did was scan the internet and the deep and dark web. And these passwords are publicly available. And there's a high chance that this password, Anita1970, is not just for this user ID, but whoever user is of this user ID is probably using this password for their Facebook account, for their Gmail account, etc., etc. So this is a real live demonstration for you to see how hackers utilize or see, the hacks which are going on, see your usernames and password. And imagine this, if I know your password, I will call you and I'll tell you, I'm calling from Google, I'm calling from Reserve Bank of India, etc., etc. And I know your password. Is this your password? You'll say, yes, this is my password. You will trust me much more. And then if I ask you to click on a link, give me an OTP, etc., etc., it becomes so simple to be able to do that. So a lot of these leak credential stuff which are there, But this also presents, is this a big problem? Of course it is. But this also presents a massive opportunity for a career in cybersecurity also. In fact, this is, according to, cybersecurity ventures and a couple of newspaper and journals, where you have almost 3.5 lakh vacancies of cybersecurity by next year. And the growth has been 350% year on year. It's massive, right? You'll rarely come across fields or professions which are growing at this percentage. And this across India, of course, you can see the Economic Times, the Live Mint saying that the increase for cybersecurity jobs is going up. And not just in India, but even across the globe. The Wall Street Journal, for example, the demand for cybersecurity jobs is soaring, according to Wall Street Journal, Cybersecurity Magazine, CyberSeek, etc., etc. So globally, in India, both places, the requirement of cybersecurity professionals is really at an all-time high. So there are two aspects of what I'm talking about. One, embedding cybersecurity in the general teaching of what you teach today, because technology has become the center of everything. The second, if somebody wants to take that very seriously and make a career in cybersecurity, even that's growing very, very fast. So the teacher of tomorrow needs to inculcate cybersecurity into their curriculum, into their day-to-day lingo with what and how things are happening. In fact, if you see, there are two parts of really putting all of this together. One is realigning to today's normal, because the new is normal is digital and everybody's taking online classes, and really it's for the future, and it's for, it's here to stay. And then obviously understanding your audience in the right way, because again, from a cyber security point of view, like knowing them, talking in their own language becomes very important. This was an actual teacher in Pune which was doing live streaming of her classes, because and this is, like attached to the hangar and everything else which is there, and and really making the new normal. So I think a lot of teachers have now started embracing online classes. What they still don't talk about is the security of online classes, or when you do things, online. We've always sent children to school. Now teachers are coming home thanks to technology and thanks to digital. In fact, the simple concept, right, of keep it simple, sir. It actually said that, look, between the last 20 years, the average human attention time span has gone down from 12 seconds to 8 seconds. This was one of the studies, which was Neil Barbary, and almost 43% people abandon emails in 30 seconds, 32% tune in on a long-winded coworker after 30 seconds, and things around that. So the attention spans are going down, and you would know all of that. In that, it's easy to hack people, because they are not really getting into the weeds of an email, of a link, of anything which is being sent to them, and they're like, okay, let's click and then see what happens. And it's very, very unfortunate that so many super smart people come to me all the time with their emails hacked, with their Instagram and their Facebook and their bank accounts hacked, with frauds of crores of rupees that happen because they were not careful. They gave their OTP to somebody, or they clicked on a link for somebody, and things around that. Starting from primary school till secondary, and then of course computer science degree. Today, cybersecurity education is only there in the computer science degrees, and that too very, very limited. But starting from going ahead, and starting from primary and secondary school, where you need to embed cybersecurity out there and talk about cybersecurity as a normal, because the way you talk about physical security or physical safety, because that's what teaching was all about, where you're preparing the student for tomorrow's challenges that they will face in life. Unfortunately, it has not adapted to the new digital normal which is there. And that is one of the key reasons why we've not been able to go ahead and see, awareness or security being inculcated into the basics of how cybersecurity looks like, and what and how things become in that way. So that's where it becomes very, very critical. And I personally have seen students connecting very, very well when you talk to them with case studies. For example, if you see, I started my presentation with a Cosmos bank attack. I spoke to you about, the frauds which are happening. I spoke to you about case studies of Jeff Bezos, etc., etc. So when you can give real life examples, not fictional stories, but real examples of how hacks are happening and what can you do to go ahead and protect yourself, it really connects and resonates very well. And you're hitting two birds with the same stone. One, you're making their digital resilience go higher. Second, you're talking their language, where you go and talk to them not about securing their email or net banking transaction, but you should talk about how can they secure their Snapchat, because Snapchat is where they're sharing pictures and going ahead and talking conversations, and that's become so popular. Similarly, how do you protect WhatsApp? How do you go ahead and protect your Instagram live accounts, your Instagram lives, which you do, etc., etc.? How do you protect against cyber bullying? I get this all the time, where unfortunately, every time somebody is going live, there are hate comments or hate messages which really come to their accounts. And it's almost mentally traumatizing for a lot of these people, because they've never been exposed to that degree of hatred online. And out of most cases, out of all odds, it might be the schoolmate or a classmate of the person, who the person had a fight with, and the person wants to teach the other person a lesson which is there. Cyberbullying, cyber stalking is becoming so popular, and you really need to go ahead and secure yourself against that. In fact, this was a very interesting survey by Microsoft, because the educational industry was one of the last to embrace technology. Almost 61% of malwares happened in the education sector, out of 7.7 million enterprise malware encountered. So imagine this, such a huge 61%. Then you have banks, you have retail, you have financial services, healthcare, all of those are much smaller. The education system is the most vulnerable sector when it comes to cyber hacks, is what Microsoft is saying. And by the way, this is a much bigger problem than hacking into the systems of the education sector. The bigger problem, and why this is 61%, is because it's one of those sectors which has not embraced technology for the longest time. And therefore, anything to do with technology has always been looked at as a foreign language. Think, oh, why do I need to know how computers work? You don't need to be an engineer, but even understanding the basics of, what happens when you click on a link, what happens when you open a new file, etc., etc., are not understood. And that's one of the key reasons why, you see challenges, in the education sector in such a huge way. So logically, you can only mitigate what can be measured in the past and in its present form. The problem with cybersecurity, because I spoke about all of these hacks and where you need to embed things, etc., etc. But the biggest problem, and you can come back to me, is saying, Saket, I don't know how much is too much. In other words, I will do all of this. I will give awareness. I will do all of this. But I don't know whether I am secured enough. I don't know if the awareness is good enough that I will not be hacked, or at least the probability of me being hacked comes down. And therefore, it just becomes a very, very big problem of how do you measure how good are you in cybersecurity? In other words, how do you go ahead and actually show that, look, this is my preparedness in cybersecurity? If I asked you, what is the battery on your smartphone? You will have an objective, real-time answer of how much battery is there on the smartphone. If I asked you how secured is your smartphone, you will not have an answer to that. I ask you another question. How safe are you from fever? You have an objective answer to it. My temperature is 98.7 degrees Celsius. That's an objective answer which says you don't have fever and hopefully don't have coronavirus also. But on the other side, if I asked you how safe are you from cyber attacks, you don't have a number. So how do you measure that becomes a very, very critical thing. What I'm coming towards the end of my presentation and I want to leave you with is, I want to give you a demo of an amazing product on the Play Store and the App Store. And this was really a problem statement we heard from so many people. And I've taken like thousands of such webinars in going ahead and trying to explain them, what is cybersecurity. But after the 1 hour webinar, things go back to normal. Even if they want to do something, they don't have a platform where they can just go and understand from small videos of how to secure Zoom, how to secure WhatsApp, how to secure net banking, how to secure Paytm, etc., etc. So we put together a completely free of cost application on the Play Store and the App Store to help you measure your own cyber safety and preparedness. And it's a free of cost thing. There's nothing involved. So you don't pay any money. And basically it's called Safe Me. In fact, you can right now go to the Play Store and App Store, type Safe Me, M-E, and you will get the app there, and you can download it, and it will actually show you how secured is your cell phone, and at the same time videos around what to do for the security of the same. For the same, I actually have one of my colleagues here. He will give you a small quick demo about the product and what it looks like and how can you use it, and not only you but even your students use it to go ahead and secure yourself for that. So I think I have my co-founder Rahul with me on the call. Rahul, are you there? Rahul, we can't hear you.
Rahul is present.
Yeah, Rahul, you're on mute.
Very good morning, everyone.
So Rahul, over to you. If you can give a quick demo about Safe Me, and how can thousands of people right now listening to us really protect themselves on the cyberspace?
Great. Thank you, Saket. Very good morning, everyone. So let me share my screen and yeah. So guys, what you can see in front of you is the main.
Can you tell them how do you download this from and where do you download this from?
Of course. So first, if you're an Android user, you have to go to your Play Store, and if you're an iOS user, you have to go to your App Store, and you have to look for an application known as Safe Me. So I'll go for Safe Me by Lucidus. And you can see here, you can have Safe Me by Lucidus. Just click there and install. So after installing it, you need to register it here. Click on the sign up. And after sign up, fill up your email address, your name, your password, confirm password, and you need to have a good password. It will tell you what password is good. And after signing up, it will send you an OTP kind of an mail to your email address, which you have filled here. And then after that, you have to log in with your username and password. So right now, let me log in it. So this is the first screen whenever you log in. And in front of you right now, what is this? This is basically your report card of your learning. And it's just like the percentage out of 100, how much you scored in the exam. So right now on home screen, you can see on the left hand side, you can see here the past, how many modules are passed. So unfortunately, I failed all 3 because I was just testing it. And there are 28 modules which are left, which are assigned by my company. You will not see that thing because that is related to the corporate account, but the content is foremost similar. For corporate, obviously we are charging, but for individual users, B2C customers, it's absolutely free. So once you download that, just click on awareness. There are 4 tabs if you see on the bottom. One is home, one is awareness, one is device and leaderboard. I'll come to each and every tab for better understanding. Home basically shows you how many modules you have passed, how many you have failed, and how many are remaining. Right now, the total count of the learning is 100. If you click on awareness, right now you can see my company is running a campaign known as remote working security campaign. If a company have this license, they can choose the modules out of these all courses. And this is one of the biggest repository of singular modules which actually required for everyone to know. I'll give an example. If you're using an Android phone, if you're using an iPhone, if you're using WhatsApp, nobody taught us how to use these applications securely. And this is the challenge. So you're using technology, but without the proper knowledge. It's just like you're driving without a driving license or proper training. So it is always a chance for being hit by someone, or maybe you hit somewhere else. So this application is covering almost everything, I can't say on the planet, but close to planet, with more than 100 modules which you can imagine, from your social media, from your device securities, from modules like how to secure from coronavirus scam, how to securely use Zoom. So people who are running the Zoom application right now, they can go ahead with that. So I'll give you a small example. For example, iPhone. I click on iPhone, there is a video, and I want to, you need to start the video first. And if I start the video, you can see the video is running now. And so this will not only teach you the video, and the good part is all the videos are less than 3 minutes or maximum close to 3 minutes. My iPhone has a lot of things to share. That's why it's 3.5 minutes, but otherwise 99% all the videos of three and maximum 3 minutes. Now, the good part about this application is when we started developing this application, we realized that majority of people will tell you how to secure the things, what to secure, but they will never tell you how to secure the things. So I'll give a small example of my dad. When I told my dad that please have two-step verification on your Gmail, he said, okay, I understand what is two-step verification, but in what seconds, in what setting, where to click so that I can enable that? I do not know where to click. Now, then I realized that this is a basic challenge with everyone who is introduced to the technologies in a very fast manner. So why not, instead of along with explaining what, we should explain how part also. So if you see this video, you will realize that we are also sharing how part. So for example, if you can see here, keep the operating system up to date. Now we will also tell you how you can check actually where to click and check your operating system is up to date or not. Now, for example, if you are talking about Find My iPhone, so where is Find My iPhone? This is there, and you can enable or disable the Find My iPhone. So this how to guide makes this entire ecosystem of learning very fun and very easy for everyone who is new to technology and using. So for example, if you're using phone from a long time, 80% of your smartphone features you never touched, especially when it comes to security. So I just want you to have a glance at the module which we are covering: MacBook, Windows, safe passwords, importance of software updates, Wi-Fi. And please let me know if we left any module. According to us, we have covered everything. SMS scams, call scams, and now these modules for an individual, for parents, is very necessary, because if you have seen the Netflix series Jamtara, where people call you and do a fraud and tell you to transfer money here and there, these modules have covered all the aspects to ensure that you will not fall into these type of traps, and you can discard these kind of attacks when it coming to you. Outlook, Gmail, cryptojacking. Now this is one of the most interesting module which comes to us, because that is known as smartphone data wiping. How many of you know actually when you format your phone and sell it to a shopkeeper, uh, they can recover the 100% data if it is not formatted in a right way? So there is a formatting known as the DoD formatting, Department of Defense formatting. It's kind of an horizontal or vertical formatting for a non-technical users, where the chances for the recovery of the data is pretty much less. And if you heard about a term, computer forensics, where a criminal, if he lost his phone, if he give his phone, or maybe law enforcement gets his phone, they try to recover the data with right tool. This same applies with the criminals also. When you factory reset your phone and send the phone to the shopkeeper, it's possibility they can recover all the data which was there. So how to ensure that they will not able to recover the data, and your data is pretty much converted into a scrambled form? This module will help you in a very big way. And so of course for students is Facebook, Snapchat, and this is again safe from fake social media friends. This is a scam which is running in a very high scale right now, especially in the COVID situation. We have ensured that you will also be covered under this. Again, Instagram, YouTube. So I think we covered each and everything, and the most important part is WhatsApp for sure. And And if you're using a mobile wallet, I think we are one of the first one who is touching this thing also. Majority of the wallet scams are not happening because there is a bug in the technology. It's happening because of the lack of awareness of the security feature of these payment applications. So I think from Paytm to Bheem, from Phone Pay, we have covered every wallet. Now, not only you will learn the basic understanding, but also wallet security also to ensure and to have a safe money. Again, Google Pay is there, Skype, and I hope after lockdown, when you're using Uber and Ola, you can see how actually you can use Ola and Uber more securely. And there are so many cyber hygiene things which are there. And then next, again, safe travel, which is maybe nobody will use as of now. Then we have a Hangout and TikTok. Obviously, now we are sorry that TikTok is not available right now, but we come to an extent where we saw that a lot of we have a lot of friends who own celebrities who are on TikTok at that time, and they realize their account is being hacked by cyber criminals. So then we made a video on TikTok also how to secure it also. Ransomware, SIM hijacking, Zoom security, as I told you. So we have covered all, and right now the development of GeoMate is happening. So it's a new video. So new videos will keep on coming to you, and and so on and so forth. So if you can see that, I think we covered everything which is possible in terms of making sure that the cyber hygiene should be there. And this is one of the best module you always do not skip: online cybercrime reporting in India. Now, there is a very big myth in India that when we report a cybercrime, whenever you've been trapped by a criminal or someone is harassing you, there is a website known as cybercrime.gov.in. It's set up by government of India. You can go there anonymously. You can report a crime for children, for women. So we have covered how you can actually, what is the procedure to report a crime in this module in 3-minute video. You can use that and make the best use of it. And for developers, we have so many other things: secure code development and smart TVs. If you have smart TV at your home, there are so many settings in smart TV to ensure that nobody is hacking into your TV and looking at you in your drawing room, because the camera in your smart TV, it can be hacked, because most of your TVs are running on Android operating system. Um, then I think these are the, again, things which are there. Now, let me move to the next phase. This is device security. Saket, would you like to jump in and explain this thing?
I think, yeah, we are almost through with the time also, Rahul. So what you can see there is really individual controls for your cell phones. So whether you have the latest operating system or not, whether your Face ID or you have a lock code or not, Rahul, you clearly don't have the latest operating system. And therefore, it clearly is showing you that, you don't have a latest operating system. Please install the latest operating system. And the moment you do that, this will become past. So it will even tell you, what is the severity and how do you actually go ahead and remediate that particular failing control which is there. And then at the end is the leaderboard. This leaderboard is very organization specific. So if you're logging in from your Gmail ID, you will not be able to see the leaderboard. But this is for organizations, because we go to very large companies and then we give a score per employee of the company. And of course, in that case, the company pays us. But for consumers, for all of you, it's absolutely free of cost. And you'll be able to see all the videos. You'll be able to see all the device security stuff. In fact, Rahul, if you can even show them the quiz. So basis on the video, it also has, you can go to any video. It has a quiz if you go down, and yeah, and it has MCQ questions. So you can just answer the quiz which is there. And just basis on, whatever the answer is, you will actually see what the score of the person is. And this marries the overall score of the individual also. So the good part is now you have a score for the organization, and sorry, for the individual. And when it's a part of the organization, it all rolls up to one score for the overall organization also. So that's about it. Rahul, thank you so much, and thank you for taking this. I think you can stop sharing.
Yeah.
And yep. You want to stop sharing, Rahul? Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks.
Yeah,
So this is what I had. I think we are left with 10 minutes for the close of the call, for the close of the session. Rajiv sir, over to you. You wanted the last 10 minutes to be there for Q&A. And
you take 10 minutes, then you take 10 minutes, then there will be a question answer session.
Oh, I thought that. So I'm actually done with my content, Rajiv sir. No problems at all. So we can go to the Q&A now.
Okay, so we go to the question answer session.
Yeah.
So there are a number of questions which is coming. The first question is, there's a baby Paul. How can I secure online classes security?
Can you please repeat that, sir?
How can I secure my online classes security?
Uh, there are multiple aspects out here that I think one should keep in mind when it comes to online classes security. One of the first and the most important thing is using the right platform. There are too many, new platforms that have come in. I highly recommend even Zoom is a safe platform to use because it's time tested. Of course, there are vulnerabilities. Every platform has vulnerability. Starting from using the more popular ones like Zoom or WebEx or Microsoft Teams, and then really enabling these platforms with the required security settings. The most important one is enabling passwords to enter into your virtual meeting or the virtual class that would be there. In that way, random people will not be able to join. To further go ahead and make sure that your individual Zoom accounts are secured, you can go to the Safe Me app, and in the Safe Me app, there is a dedicated 3-minute video on Zoom security or Microsoft Teams security or WebEx security. And you can learn from there, point by point, what you need to do and where you need to go in that option. As Rahul said, that we actually show in the video how to make your account more secured also. So you should definitely do that. And that's what I would say. You can make your stuff more secured while taking online classes. Rajiv sir.
Second question is, how to protect our email, a smartphone, and laptop?
It's like asking how do you remain healthy. It can have a lot of answers and things around that. But one common thing that I would say across email, and the laptop and the accounts that you guys mentioned is what I've seen. One control that really takes away almost 90% of the hacks that happen is enabling two-factor authentication. Most people don't realize how important it is. I highly, highly, highly recommend that, if you definitely must go ahead and enable two-factor authentication on your emails, where every time you log in, it sends you a code on your phone. And only once you enter the code, you're able to go inside. I cannot tell you how important this is. It almost eliminates 90% of the frauds and hacks that happens on email. So I highly, highly recommend everybody should mandatorily, whether it's your professional account or your personal email account, you should definitely have two-factor authentication, and all good service providers for emails have that free of cost available, which is there. So starting from enabling two-factor authentication till actually making sure that, you have basic hygienic things in place, starting from things like you're not clicking on links on emails, not giving out your passwords when it's not required, being very careful when you actually dispose a laptop, for example, as Rahul spoke about, how easy it is for criminals to actually take disposed laptops and cell phones and retrieve the data which you think you formatted, but you might have not formatted it in the right way. But again, the answers to these are very, very clearly mentioned in the free of cost mobile app, which is there. Please go ahead. I'm not trying to, the good part of a free of cost thing is it doesn't really get anything to us from a money perspective. But each one of this, how to secure your email, how to secure your laptop, whether it's Mac or Windows, how to secure your accounts, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of that has dedicated 3-minute videos and recommendations in the Safe Me application. So please download that, please use it so that you can actually see point by point what needs to be done. And frankly, it's being suggested by the real experts out there, because they actually read the recommendations of Facebook and Google, etc., and then tell you what needs to be done out there. So you are in better place out there to get the recommendation, which are very, very specific out there. Rajiv sir.
Now the next question is, Mr. Loknath, how to create a strong password for any platform and is phishing still possible after taking all kind of precaution?
It's like asking, are you, can you still fall sick after taking all kinds of precaution? The answer, unfortunately, is yes. And so going in the reverse order of what you mentioned, one is, you know, protecting from phishing. There's a lot of things, especially I repeat again, the two-factor authentication. The moment you do that, there's a lot of security that goes in if you have two-factor authentication enabled. How to create a strong password? Well, there are multiple ways. You can just go online, and there are these places like lastpass.com, or even Google Chrome, you know, now has a default extension which suggests you a strong password which is there. Typically, a strong password would mean a combination of uppercase, lowercase, numerical, and even special characters inside that. So that's something which you're there. The good news is that the world is moving from that perspective where you're moving to a world where you will not need passwords. I think the best example, if you use Beam, what most people don't realize is Beam doesn't need any password. While it is not just two-factor authentication, it's three-factor authentication. So they've been able to increase the security while not increasing the complexity of using your Beam account. And the way that has happened is the three-factor or three-binding or three-factor authentication would be: number one, it binds with the device ID. So, you know, you can only use your Beam account in one mobile phone. You can't use it in 5 mobile phones. Second, it binds it to the mobile number. So the number has to be registered in the KYC of the account that you would have. And the third is the UPI pin, which is a simple 4-digit pin which is there, easy to remember. So these are 3 different factors of authentication before which you are authorized to make a Beam or a UPI based transactions which is there. So more security and more convenience also. Of course, how do you remember the complex passwords is the next question, because if you have 20 accounts and each one of them has a complex password, it's very difficult for you to remember. And that's where in Apple, you have something default like keychain. Google Chrome extend, you know, has by default that allows you to store passwords. By default, you have something like lastpass.com and things around that. You can go and download these password managers from. That's pretty secured. And, you know, I highly recommend that you have a complex password, but you don't remember all of that. You can actually remember all of that in the form of a password manager that you can download. Rajiv sir.
So next is Mr. Govinda. Again, a very similar type of question, but I have to ask you how to protect mobile or laptop from hacking, and how to secure our WhatsApp, Facebook, and other apps.
Sorry, my answer is the same, and this is the simplest and the shortest answer. Every word that you asked, Facebook, WhatsApp, other accounts, cell phones, Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, each one has a dedicated answer because they're all different platforms. So it's wrong for me to go and generically tell you things. If you go back, go to Save Me, there is a dedicated video for each one of them. So please download that, please see those videos, and you will be able to see what you need to do to go ahead and protect yourself. Rajiv sir.
Next is Vishwananda. Cyber security is advantage and disadvantages for students and benefits of the students from cyber security form.
I didn't understand the question, sir.
The question is cyber security is advantage and disadvantage for a student and benefits of students from cyber securities.
Okay, so you're asking is it an advantage or a disadvantage, and the benefits from that. I would say cybersecurity is neither. It's neither advantage, neither disadvantage. It's like asking your knife is an advantage or a disadvantage. It's neither, because it's on you how you use the knife. And if you use it for the right reasons, you can chop vegetables and make an amazing dish. If you use it for the wrong reason, and I don't need to tell you, so many of them can be there, it can do a lot of harm. So cyber security, or more especially cyber or technology, I look at it as an amplifier of good or bad. It is neither by itself. It's a tool that you use and you use it to your advantage. Smart people do that. And smart people are able to utilize that to your disadvantage also when the awareness of cybersecurity is not there, when the education of cybersecurity is not there. So I would say it's neither an advantage or a disadvantage. However, if you remember the stats that I showed you, by next year, we'll have 3.5 lakh jobs available in cybersecurity which have not been fulfilled. It's a massive opportunity for somebody who wants to make a career in cybersecurity, because cybersecurity is here to stay. It is unlike a lot of those traditional fields or professions, which will unfortunately become redundant. Something as basic as driving a car or going ahead and delivering goods, etc., they will all become redundant in the near future. But cybersecurity is a field of the future. And therefore, I would say it's a massive opportunity. And not just if you want a career in cybersecurity, but on the other side, if you know cybersecurity, you can actually use that to your advantage in any career that you're in. And actually, that gives you an edge over a lot of your colleagues in the field that you're at. Rajiv, sir.
Next is Ganpati. In this pandemic era, how India could prepare the cyber security, the current threat from Chinese hacker?
That's a good question. Let me break that question down. Let me
Yeah.
start in the reverse order of what you mentioned. You guys mentioned Chinese hackers. Everybody should know about this as a fact, that there's a very globally renowned cybersecurity company called Mandiant, which produced a report almost 5 years back, which showed pictures and videos of a building with more than 10,000 professionally employed hackers by the Chinese government in China. It was 5 years back. So the Chinese government has been very systematically focused and has been investing in building competence to do cyber offensive hacking. It's not just for India, it's for across the globe. And they are very, very advanced in that way. And therefore, when you look at the whole ecosystem of attacks which can happen, and I'm not just talking about China, it can be Pakistan, it can be so many countries, and it's really not just India versus others. It can be any country that really wants to hack or attack a country. Today, cyber will become one of the most important aspects or dimensions that it will utilize, that which is there. How can India how can India secure? There's a lot which is happening in India. That's the good news. I told you in my presentation also, India is one of those rare, large countries in the world which has a systematic digital plan as Digital India. In fact, Secured Digital India. Scoop Whoop did a very, very nice documentary. You can go online and type Secured Digital India, and they shot that with us and a couple of professors from IIT Kanpur and things around that. And it was a very good documentary. What is India doing today to go ahead and defend against the whole cyber attack ecosystem which is happening from around the world, and how it's doing to protect itself. In short, what I can say, it starts from the top. The good news is we've had an Indian IT Act. There's a new Data Protection Act sitting in the Parliament right now, and which, if it gets enacted, it actually helps strengthen the technology of a lot of Indian companies to make sure that the data is protected. And when you protect the data, it's not just protection against Indians or Chinese or Pakistanis. It really becomes protection against anybody who's trying to hack. So there's a lot being done. It always starts from the top. The good news is we have a prime minister who understands the importance of cybersecurity. If you look at his Digital India speech, out of a 20-minute speech, he almost for 14 minutes spoke about the bloodless war that can happen because we are going digital, which is around cybersecurity. So he understands the importance very, very clearly, and it starts from there. The investment in security is increasing. The laws are being formulated. The competence is also going up. So I would say we are doing a lot to go in the right direction. But can the speed be better? Absolutely. Rajiv sir.
Next is Astik Kranti Sarkar. Is using free antivirus software is safe? And how to enter into dark web?
Two parts to your question. Let me
Yeah.
start with the first one. Is using a free of cost antivirus safe? There's a saying in the cyber world. Whenever you get a product free of cost, you are the product which is being sold out there. In other words, any organization needs to have a primary source of income for them to exist. The nature of an antivirus is where you need regular updates in terms of malware signatures and what is available in the deep and dark web, etc., etc. All of that requires research. Research requires money. So if somebody is going ahead and giving you their product completely free of cost and say that is their primary source of business, it is a very worrisome point because they might be using your data or not giving you the latest information that can be there. That can also be countered to me. I just gave you a product that I've developed free of cost. So are we trying to sell your data, et cetera, et cetera? Absolutely not. I was very clear in saying that my business model is very different, where I go to large organizations, large banks around the world, starting from New York to New Delhi, and really provide them cybersecurity. And this was a generic problem that we saw across all consumers that we were talking to. And it's almost like a CSR that we went and said we want to make it free of cost because that's not our primary source of income. But going back, I would highly recommend you to pay money for the antivirus that you're using. And the good news is it's very cheap these days. It's literally 200, 300 rupees a year that you need to pay that you get the antivirus with. So I would highly recommend that, you should pay money, Astik. And the second part is, how do I go into the deep web and the dark web? Well, the standard way in which most people use the deep and dark web is by downloading something called the Tor browser, Tor. It's no secret, and therefore I'm going ahead and publicly sharing this. It's basically a browser that uses multi-peer connection where you're going to these deep and dark web websites, which, by the way, for everybody's knowledge, are not .com and .in and .co.cc or .org or .net. It's .onion is their extension in the deep and dark web. And there's a full Wikipedia page of that. There's a full forum. Remember, I spoke about Hacker as a Service. You actually get all of that there. So you can download Tor browser and then go to Google and just search deep and dark web forums or the deep and dark web wiki. You will get a link of something.onion. Copy that, paste it in the Tor browser, and you will be in the deep and dark web. Rajiv sir.
Okay. Ashish?
Another question from Rajiv.
Yes, yes.
Another question from Rajniwala side. My question is, what are the threats to our defense system from cyber insecurity?
When you talk about defenses or defense systems, for good or bad, it is today now heavily relying on automated weaponry, whether it's the army, the navy, or the air force. In fact, Israel has publicly gone ahead and their prime minister has publicly said that the way I have the army, navy, and the air force, there's a fourth division called the Group 8200, which is only cyber offensive attackers which are there, which don't only defend, but also offend or offensive cybersecurity or offensive security is what they are doing. Coming to your question that how do we protect our defense systems or are we protecting it? The good news is that there's a lot of custom security work and some very, very brilliant people in our defense systems, which have developed their own custom encryption algorithms, custom encrypted pen drives or cybersecurity tools that we have on our own. Is that good enough? Well, I think we have a long way to go there. There's a lot to be done. Because when I compare this to the United States of America or China, where they publicly say that we have spent in the tune of tens of billions of dollars on cyber offense, we are still not there yet. But the good news of the current government is there is a very clear focus on technology enablement and therefore very clear focus on cyber enablement of that technology. So sorry, I don't have an objective answer because I'm not in the defense system to know the accurate picture of what is going on. But from whatever I hear from forums that I'm a part of, there's a lot of investment right now going on there. Are we there yet? Have we protected everything and nothing can be hacked? Absolutely not. But that's also not true for most of these systems around the world. Remember, the National Security Agency, the NSA of the US government, was publicly hacked. And their exploits, remember, the world's most sophisticated cyber intelligence company was publicly hacked. And their secret exploits were stolen from them and put out in the deep and dark web and even in the internet. NotPetya, Eternal Blue are the name of exploits which were hacked from that. So when they are getting hacked, we are definitely hackable. In fact, there's a saying in the world of cybersecurity, there are only two types of companies in the world. One, who know that they've been hacked, the other who don't. But what that means is everybody's been hacked. It's just a matter of time of when you find it out.
Another question is lots of participants wants to know how to start a student career in cybersecurity.
So there are various aspects like any field. If I asked you, how do you become a doctor? The next question would be, okay, MBBS is a generic learning, and then you go into specialization. With MD, you become a neurologist, you become a physician, you become, so many examples which are there. Exactly in the same way, there are some generic things that you do in order to dive into the career of cybersecurity. The good news is you don't need, you almost don't even need to go to college for that. The reason I'm saying that, all of those courses are available on the internet. In fact, we have a partnership with Delhi University, where at Shahid Sukhdev Singh College, for the last 2 years, we have been running a 1-year postgraduate diploma course in cybersecurity. And the entire course and the faculty is provided by our team. So we've been running that. Do you need to go there to start your career? Absolutely not. I can give you a couple of very, very good certifications that you can do online. And the moment you do that, it gives you very good base knowledge on cybersecurity. But the fundamental building block on the career of cybersecurity is understanding cyber. Security is step 2. Cyber is first, and then comes cybersecurity. So the foundation stone for anybody who wants a career on cybersecurity is somebody who's very strong in the fundamentals of computer science, how the computer works, starting all the way till you're writing your programs, all the way going to the registers, literally till the NAND, NOR, and the XOR gates, till actually going ahead and writing your own binary code, understanding how operating systems works, understanding how database and data storage and database architectures work, how the internet works, all of those things are first required, because if you don't have that and you want to jump into cybersecurity, it's useless, because you will become a script kiddie, which almost says that, look, I know how to drive a car, but I don't know what's going inside the car. So make no mistake, cybersecurity is no different than computer science or cyber. You need to be a champion of cyber first, and then comes cybersecurity. So I would highly recommend that the MBBS in cybersecurity is computer science engineering or IT engineering that a lot of people will have, or a BSc, MSc in IT and computer science, where you need to know how programming works. The step 2 becomes some very popular certifications we personally, like my entire services team, I have a 200-member team, right? My entire services team is OSCP certified, Offensive Security Certified Professional. It's a very popular American certification. It charges you around $1,000, so around 60,000-70,000 rupees. It's their certification. You can go and take that. And the interesting thing about that certification is the examination doesn't have any question and answers. They give you 5 IP addresses, and you have to hack those 5 IP addresses in 24 hours and give them the data which is on those IP address. And that's how you clear the examination which is there. It's called OSCP, Offensive Security Certified Professional. And at the same time, there's a very nice website that I recommend a lot of my students. It has all free of cost courses called securitytube.com. It has a lot of courses that you can go and enroll yourself. It's called securitytube.com. So these are some free of cost available resources. From a certification perspective, I highly have very high regards for OSCP. My entire team is OSCP certified, and that is where we are. Yeah. Rajiv sir, I'll have to leave also because I think we are through with the time. So,
Achha, okay, give me a 2 minute, 2 minute. Ashish,
हाँ जी.
take one question, then wind up.
No, I wind up. I have
Okay.
sir answered all questions almost.
Achha.
A special thanks to all the speakers of the day for providing important information on cybersecurity. I hope the participants learned a lot from this talk. Once again, thank you Saket Modi sir, Rubal sir, and Rahul Tyagi sir for explaining the all aspects related to the hacking and cybersecurity and tackle the questions of the participants so softly. I hope we will associate in future also. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Ashish sir, Rajiv sir, Alok sir, and the university. I am a 29-year-old first-time entrepreneur, so you guys can always address me as Saket, because I think the people who deserve the title of sirs and ma'ams are the one who are listening out here, and I don't think I've come even close to being qualified as much as they do, because that's what you get by decades of experience by teaching and training people. I and my team is very, very far away from that. So, but thank you so much for the opportunity. It is truly an honor to come down and spend some time. I hope this was something that I was able to impart. And thank you so much for spending the time. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.